Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
We think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty. Welcome to RadioAMB, designed for those who want to live a long and vibrant life. I'm Patty Schmucker, a licensed cosmetologist who's been in the beauty industry for over 40 years. RadioAMB, which stands for American Made Beauty, is where we tell the secrets behind the making of health and beauty products. Our segment sponsor today is Alex and Tay Custom Nail Color. Personalized beauty has arrived, and it's really easy to do. Snap a picture, tap a color, name your bottle, and order your polish. Millions of color options at your fingertips. Learn more about Alex and Tay at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. You know, in every industry, there's a few people that each day show up over a career with clear intentions, focus on a greater purpose. My guest today is a man that has not only become one of the most revered professionals in the beauty space, but through his lifetime of commitment to collaboration, service beyond self, and long-term thinking, he has become an inspiration to many and has changed the way people think about and come in contact with beauty. Harlan Kirchner is the CEO and owner of the Kirschner Group, a worldwide sales and merchandising organization that has been representing manufacturers in the professional hair, skin, and nail industry for over 35 years. The Kirschner Group is the largest and only global professional sales company in the salon industry. Harlan has been an active supporter of the industry, dedicating his time and energy to many industry organizations. He serves as a board member of the Professional Beauty Association, chairman of the Professional Beauty Association Manufacturer Leadership Council, treasurer of the Western Buyer Conference Committee, 2014 City of Hope Beauty Industry honoree, chairman of the 2015 City of Hope Beauty Industry Campaign, and member of the Eastern Buying Conference Committee. Welcome, Harlan. I am just delighted to have you with us today.
Well, thank you, Patty, and it's a pleasure to be here with you.
So for our audience, of which we have a very large group of consumers that show up, help our audiences understand what exactly is a manufacturer buying group. What is the Kirschner Group in the marketplace today?
Sure, I'll be happy to do that. In virtually every industry, you have manufacturers reps, and there is an organization. It's called MANA, which is National Manufacturers and Agents in every industry throughout the United States. They have meetings occasionally on a quarterly basis and kind of share best practices. But manufacturers reps are in almost every industry, and most manufacturers who aren't publicly traded large companies can't afford to have their own sales staff. So in our particular case, we have 57 salespeople who live throughout the United States and Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Latin America. So when a company starts a brand or somebody who's an entrepreneur starts a company, they'll generally reach out to the manufacturing rep sector, and that gives them instant access to customers, to a sales force, to marketing opportunities. And so manufacturers reps are in virtually every industry throughout the United States and service customers. So we are the actual sales force for the manufacturers that we represent.
And how did you get into it? When you first started in the industry, was it through sales or through the beauty industry?
So I started in the beauty industry in 1979 and started our company, the Kirschner Group, in 1984. And the reason I got into the beauty industry, I had originally, when I was growing up as a kid, as many of us, Mom says, well, what do you want to be? Do you want to become a doctor or a lawyer? And so neither one of them sounded particularly interesting to me. But I did get into working my way to try to become a doctor and taking pre-med classes, and became a respiratory therapist and got into respiratory therapy sales. And that led me into doing sales for a steel company back in like 1978, and the economy was really bad, and I looked and I thought, well, what industry might be recession-proof or recession-resistant? And I looked at the beauty industry and thought, well, that might be an industry I want to look into, and started with a manufacturing company, and then in 1984 started our sales organization.
Wow. And so as you began starting the sales organization, what does that mean? Were you yourself out selling and then sort of grew your group?
Yeah, and for those who are out there who are entrepreneurial, there is encouragement that, you start at the bottom and you work your way up and you learn the business. And so I started by working for a manufacturing company, and then there was a sales organization that this manufacturing company used. The gentleman who was the owner of it, called Bill Powers, and it was called the Powers Group, was getting older and was looking to retire. And so I took a job working with him for a year, covering 5 states and working for him. And then eventually what I did is we acquired his business. I had a partner at the time who was a partner for about 3 years. We acquired his business, and for about a decade, I covered Arizona, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, El Paso, Texas, California, and so visiting those customers and learning the business from the ground up.
And as you went along, can you tell us about some of the key things that happened during your career that really propelled the company forward?
Yeah, well, the first thing is I started to really enjoy the business and enjoyed the people that are in the business. The beauty industry is a fun and changing environment constantly. There's new products on the horizon always. You're dealing with a lot of entrepreneurial companies that are looking to be creative and think differently. So first of all, when I got started in the industry, I found it very, very enjoyable and fun, and liked the people that we were doing business with. And as you know, being a licensed professional, that hairstylists, manicurists, estheticians tend to be fairly creative folks,
right?
Artistic, and love to be seeing new things.
Mm-hmm.
So started visiting a lot of customers and developing relationships, and as time went on, we were able to draw some better lines. As we drew better lines, we started to attract a better sales force, and it's a building process. I've been doing this 37 years, and every year you build a little bit more, you get a little stronger, you add more people onto your staff, and you build infrastructure, organization. So it is a process, and for entrepreneurs who are starting out, and it is a little frustrating, of course, in the beginning, but you just have to stay with it. You have to be consistent, and you really do have to learn the business.
And when you talk about learning the business, I mean, what are the aspects that, as a sales rep, other than knowing the actual physical product that you're representing, where else do you add value in learning the business?
Well, starting at the top, you need to learn the different classes of trade. And in our world, we have distributors, we have redistributors, we have chain salons, we have independent salons, we have the large companies like the Beauty Systems groups and the Salon Centrics, and you've got Ulta and Sephora, and so you've got all these different classes of trade. You've got barber distributors, you've got schools, you've got nail distributors, you've got Vietnamese nail distributors, you have Korean distributors, and so you have many, many, many classes of trade. And what works in the Vietnamese nail business might not work so well in the Caucasian part of the business, and vice versa. So you really have to learn each aspect of the business and what appeals to that clientele and that salon professional. And programs that work in hair don't always work in nails.
Mm-hmm.
Things that work in nails don't always work in skin. So there is some overlap of programs, but you do need to learn the business, the different classes of trade, what they do, how they work, and they're all different.
Right, right. And so as you, so it sounds like there were a variety of different types of lines that were better lines that you got, and as a result of that, you mentioned that you began being able to attract better salespeople. What were some of the early lines that you got that were sort of real game changers?
Yeah, it's so interesting because, many of those brands that we had in the early days, and Nioxin comes to mind, that we started with Nioxin when it was a tiny company and did not have any distribution at the time, and built it up into a $80 million business, and then it was sold off to Procter & Gamble. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens in our industry quite often is that you have these lines. Pureology would be another good example that we had from the day it started. We grew that up to almost a $100 million business, and L'Oreal bought it.
Right.
And so it's the kind of what goes on in not only in our business but in many businesses is the big publicly traded companies, they don't really develop anything. They buy companies. They don't build them. And so when a company gets to that $75 to $100 million point, they become very attractive for publicly traded companies and, usually get acquired.
Right. And so as you have, that seems like it's hard. You know that you are going to build it up, and then it's going to be acquired, and then your services are no longer needed. How do you plan your business for that?
It's so amazing because, that question would have been different 10 or 15 or 20 years ago.
Right.
But what you do is, when a Nioxin, you build it, and then it gets acquired, then a Pureology comes along, and a Pureology gets acquired. And so what happens is that, you do generally represent these brands for, most of the brands we represent today, we've represented for 25 or 30 years. Mm-hmm. So there are those occasional ones that are lightning in a bottle, and they grow tremendously fast, and they wound up getting sold off. But by and large, 9 out of 10 companies that we represent, we've represented for decades, and we'll probably continue to represent for decades.
Right.
So you've got this core of manufacturers who you do represent, who you're loyal to, and they're loyal to you. And occasionally you get a very, very hot nail category product or hair or skincare product that goes like lightning, and you don't really plan on losing them, but, something else comes along to replace it as time goes on. And the same thing happens with the distributors. Mm-hmm. Distributors build lines, sometimes they lose them, and miraculously enough, something will come along to replace it.
Right, right. So as you reflect back on all of these years, because as I said at the beginning of the show, you've had a career every day showing up and being very purposeful about what you've done. What are some of the important lessons in leadership you've learned along this journey?
Yeah, and that's a wonderful question. There are the thing that I think helps propel not only myself but all of our salespeople is the relationship with the customers, building trust, building a relationship that you're consistent. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. Your follow-up has to be great. And so I think it was earning the respect and the trust of the distributors out there is primary, because people buy from who they like. Mm-hmm. And if they like you and they have a choice of buying from you or somebody else, they like you more, they're going to throw the business your way. So you'd also have to be communicative with the manufacturers and with your customers, because you're the intermediary. You're the one who has to go out there and really represent the manufacturer, but also represent the customer at the same time. And you've got to be communicative between the two parties and always really look for common ground, because the best deal is where everybody makes money.
Right.
And, the distributors tend to always feel like they're getting taken advantage of by the manufacturers, and manufacturers always feel like the distributors are never appreciative. And so you have this, yin and yang that continues to always go on. It's human nature. And you've got to assure the distributor that the manufacturer is giving them the best pricing, best promotions, most amount of support and education, and then you've got to go to the manufacturers and constantly push them to excel more and to, step up their games and increase their educational spends or their infrastructure or whatever they need to do to be competitive.
Right. And you've got a fairly significant staff at this point. You mentioned almost 70 people. That's part of your team. Are there specific things that you've stayed true to with regards to attracting and motivating and keeping your team all moving in the same direction?
You bet. I'm very, very proud of the fact that the majority of our sales team, the average tenure of our sales team is about 17 years, 18 years, which means that, many of them have been with us 25 years or more, and it brings down your curve when you expand and hire new people. But the average, sales rep, when they join our sales team, they do not leave. We're at the top of the food chain in the beauty industry. Mm-hmm. And they, for the most part, they get to work from home, which is a huge benefit. We have sales reps who live in all the major cities throughout the world, so they work from home. They have home offices, and they do get to be a little bit independent. They make their own schedules, and we really don't micromanage them. So you have to have people who are self-starters, who are motivated, who are highly organized. Otherwise they don't succeed. And, through our history, as we did many acquisitions, and the way we got to be the size we are is that back in it would have been 1997, we were doing acquisitions. We started our first acquisition in the beginning of 90. And then 97, we had another major acquisition, and throughout the 2000s, we were able to generally bolster our staff. But we covered the entire United States, and then we started to expand internationally. And being successful is really finding all the right players to be in the right territories. I've got a philosophy that best rep wins. So you've got to find the best rep in every territory if you're going to hopefully win in every territory. And, we've been able to do that throughout Europe and Asia and Latin America and the Middle East, is find A players to join our team who generally know their territories, have relationships with the customers, and are able to build the brands we represent.
And when you sort of defined a little bit what an A player is, self-starter, they've got good relationships, they're able to organize themselves. Any other characteristics that when you meet someone you go, that's an A player?
Yeah, generally, you look at their background. And most of the people that work for us have worked for bigger companies, mm-hmm. and it's always so interesting when they come from a much larger company, like generally a publicly traded company, a L'Oreal, a Unilever, a Estee Lauder. They come to a company like ours, and they're very, very appreciative because they've lived in an environment that was demanding and ungrateful, and then they come into an environment where they feel part of a team, they feel like their input is welcome, and they actually feel like they're making a difference. Mm-hmm. And they know it's long term, and the mm-hmm. harder they work, the more money they make because they're on commission, so it benefits them to plan and organize and strategize. And the more they sell, the more money they make, and the more money they make, the happier they are. So it's being a manufacturer sales rep is really a wonderful career, and I think that most of our staff would tell you that they're thrilled with what they do. They love the company, they love the culture, and we have I look at the culture as being a very important aspect. Is you want people to feel like they're making a difference, and their input is welcome. And we do conference calls every other Wednesday. We do lots of meetings, and we welcome their input. And you've got all these people that are very talented A players. You want to hear what's going on in the front lines, and you want to have them, give them a seat at the table in decision-making processes.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting that you mentioned as far as culture, and that was one of my questions for you, because being a virtual company, because really you've got people that are all over the world, the connectivity and giving people a sense that they are belonging, it sounds like that's a very big focus. Are there specific tools that you're using and finding helpful in creating that virtual culture?
Yeah, it's an evolution when you're inventing culture. Mm-hmm. But I think that you have, as a leader, you have to set that culture and set an example, by being respectful, by making sure that if you're asked something, you get the information to them, and you really do have to set an example. I learned Sally Beauty Company was started by a gentleman named Mike Renzulli many, many years ago, and we were at an event, and there was an auction. It was a American Beauty Association gala, and they had an auction, and in this auction they auctioned off an hour consultation with Mike Renzulli, and this was when Sally was probably about 400 stores. Uh-huh. But anyway, I bid on this, and I had lunch with Mr. And, he told me some very valuable things, but monkey see, monkey do. You have to set an example. You can't ask other people to do things that you're not willing to do yourself. So he was always the first one at conventions and the last one to leave, the first one at meetings and the last one to leave. And so I've modeled that, and I've always tried to be the first one in the office and last one to leave and first one on show floors and set an example that they could follow.
That's true. Absolutely. You are always there. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what's happening in the industry today and key trends that are shaping the future of beauty and wellness. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shh. Over here. Here's a secret for a virus-free computer. ESET. They've been a pioneer in the antivirus industry for over 25 years. 25 years of innovative, top-rated antivirus protection. ESET's award-winning security solutions provide a safe online experience for over 100 million home and business computer owners. They are so affordable, fast, and simple to use. So be gone, you blue screen of death. ESET's on my computer. If it's not on yours, visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on ESET now.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Where positive people and radio unite. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to RadioAMB on HealthyLife.net. I'm Patty Schmucker, your host, and I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the CEO of the Kirchner Group, Mr. Harlan Kirchner. Harlan, we talked a little bit about how the Kirchner Group came to be. Tell us what's happening today in the industry and how that's affecting your business.
Sure, I'd love to. And I just came from a week ago an executive conference we had in Scottsdale, and it was many of the top executives in the beauty industry, and we had a number of guest speakers. And one of the guest speakers had talked about change and the evolution of the industry and what's going on. And in one of the breakouts, I was talking to a couple of the senior managers in our industry about, what they're seeing. And, we believe that we're seeing more change in the last 5 years than in the last 25 years. And a comment was made, I think it was appropriate, that, if you're afraid or you don't like the last 5 years, you're going to really hate the next 5 years.
I love that.
It's only going to accelerate.
That's right. That's right.
And so, I welcome change. I look at the industry changes. They're challenging. They're different. We have to adapt. A lot of it is technological today, but it's exciting. And I'll give you a real good example of that is that social media that exists today. We have social media that exists today that never existed in the history of sales, meaning that there's influencers that have 10 or 12 or 14 or 15 million followers, where you can reach these followers that are very very interested in beauty. And unlike traditional advertising, where historically we put ads in magazines or newspapers or, whatever the case may be, you put an ad in a newspaper, let's say the Los Angeles Times, for something like sporting goods. Well, it may be sent to 10 million people, but only, X amount, a few 100,000 are interested in sporting goods or beauty products. In today's world, these influencers, the people that follow them, they're following them because they're interested. You've got a captive audience of folks who are following these influencers because they want to, and when they see something that these influencers recommend, they're more motivated than historically ever to go ahead and try that product. And so that's an opportunity, and so many of the industry managers look at that as a challenge, and I look at it as, wow, we have an opportunity to reach millions of people at one time that we've never had before. So I embrace this whole era of social media. It's a little challenging for some of us, and but it's one of those things that if you don't get involved in it, the world's going to pass you by because it's just not going away.
Right. And so the access to the consumer through social media has become more direct. I hadn't really thought, you really said that succinctly in that the whole idea that a social media influencer has attracted a particular audience that is not only interested in them, but what they're talking about, and oftentimes they're very focused about what they're talking about. Right? If they're talking about beauty, that's really mostly what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it's interesting that when you go on, let's say, Instagram these days, Instagram is developing algorithms that only allow messaging to go out to the people who are interested. Because, we're in an era where everything's being refined on social media. So even though you may have a following of 1 million people, if you're talking about something that's irrelevant to 200,000 of them, they may not get that Instagram. And so they're trying to, as the social media companies, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the social media platforms, they're evolving and they're trying to make their companies, more acceptable to the consumer, because none of the consumers want to get junk. I look at my junk mail on my email, and it just keeps multiplying, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get less, not more junk.
Right.
And so, the social media companies are finding ways to filter the messaging going out to that consumer, so consumers are really getting just what they want and not getting overwhelmed with junk.
Right.
And so that's going to continue.
And as we've talked about in the real world, one man's junk is the other man's pleasure. So that's so certainly happens within the virtual world. As you look at the way that you're shaping your business, though, how is that changing that relationship with the manufacturer rep, the brand? How is social media then impacting all that?
So I think that I need to get a bigger picture. And, if you look at the biggest threat to most of the customers that we have throughout the country, the biggest threat they have is Amazon. And that's in all industries, not just beauty. And so Amazon is a huge threat. And if you talk to upper management at Sephora or Ulta or BSG or SalonCentric or, many of the bigger companies that are chains, they tell you that Amazon's what keeps them awake at night. And so, but what it's doing is it's forcing, and we'll just use, let's say Ulta and Sephora for this conversation, it's forcing them to increase the store experience to be a much better experience. They know that the only way they can beat Amazon is when a customer comes into that store and they have a wonderful experience, they're going to want to buy.
Right.
Again, we buy from who we like. So one of the things that the Kirschner Group has done, and we've done this for about 12, 13 years we started this program, we have a store support program where we have 57 licensed professionals who visit stores like Ulta, like Sephora, and educate the store personnel on the features and benefits of the products that we represent. So I'll just pick a blow dryer, for example. Somebody comes into an Ulta store, they want to buy a blow dryer, and they want to know the difference between an AC and a DC motor. Well, if that store personnel can answer their questions effectively and answer their questions in regards to wattage and weight and motors and all that, most likely that person's going to buy.
Right. And that is something that is really a distinctive to the Kirschner Group, in that you've really put a decade into really figuring out what works and what doesn't in regards to that store activity.
Absolutely, and it takes time to develop all programs. But educational programs really take time because, it's a moving target. And, education, people get bored of education really easy. I mean, I remember when I was in school, I spent a lot of time looking out the window.
Right.
Because, school is boring. And education isn't, So we've learned how to make it exciting, make it fun, make it interactive. With our store support personnel, we script them so that the messaging that is out there to the customer is uniform. The same message in California would be as in Connecticut. And so if a customer goes into an Ulta store or a Sephora store in Connecticut or California, hopefully they're going to hear exactly the same thing.
Right. And that makes sense to be able to, with the salespeople and then now a store support system, now you're really being able to hone that brand's message and have consistency. And it sounds like that really helps to create a lot of continuity for the consumer.
It does. It does, and it's a game changer because, you'll buy the brand that the store people is educated in, and if they know nothing about another brand, then you're going to believe that, that brand must not be so good, or they would know about it.
Right.
Education is incredibly more important today than it ever has been.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about some of these trends that are changing and some other things that the Kirschner Group is doing to prepare for the future. So stay with us. We will be right back.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call EarthChannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
When you're looking for bedding, department store prices can shock you. Well, be shocked no more. Sell steak cheap, not cheap steak. That's the motto of Anna's Linens. Although they don't sell steak, they do sell the best bedding, bath, and home decor items. They strive to provide their merchandise at extreme value to their customers, and they do it. Great everyday prices on everything and military discounts. Plus, if you visit them online, they have clearance items and internet specials. Visit them online now at HealthyLife.net's advertiser page.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Hey, thanks for staying with us. This is Patty Schmucker here at RadioAMB, and I'm just having a delightful time here with the CEO of the Kirschner Group, Mr. Harlan Kirchner. So, Harlan, let's talk about trends. I mean, we're talking about the way that the Kirschner Group is changing that environment in a retail store by creating more engagement with the consumer. What are some of the trends that you're really seeing that's shaping how consumers are getting beauty and wellness?
One of the things that's been an interesting phenomena in the last couple of years that is changing our industry. When JCPenney put Sephora stores inside the JCPenney's, JCPenney was, as we all know, was having challenges, and if you followed their stock, they were not doing so well. Since they put the Sephora stores inside their stores, it's brought in a customer that they normally would not have gotten. And so that Sephora store inside of the JCPenney is bringing in a shopper who comes in, may buy their cosmetics or fragrance or whatever they buy in Sephora, and then on the way out they buy, I need some towels, I need pillows, I need a jacket, or whatever the case may be. So that's been noted by other companies, and so we've had over the last year and a half or two companies like Kohl's, Anthropology, Urban Outfitters, all of the drugstores, the Walgreens, the CVS, Rite Aids, the Target, they're all looking to increase their beauty sections. And one of the things they realize is when you have a beauty section that's a successful beauty section, people come in more often. You need a lipstick, you need cosmetics. You may only buy towels or blankets or pillows once every year or 2 years or 3 years. But for your beauty products, you need those all the time. And so the beauty segment for most of drug and mass and prestige retail has become very attractive. And I think you're going to see that trend continue and get more competitive with more and more beauty sets throughout all of drug, mass, and prestige. And
that's interesting because you're right. I mean, the whole idea about personal care is that it is a consumable that you're constantly needing to refill. So your frequency of purchasing, that makes a lot of sense. Are you seeing new categories? Are you seeing things change with regards to trends?
Yeah, there's some categories, if you go category by category, the nail category has been very flat for the last couple of years. We had the gels and those that kind of gave the category a boost. But it's been pretty flat. I'm hoping that we see some innovation in the category, but we haven't really seen much, of late. There are like mood polishes that have come out, so those types of things give it a boost for a little bit, but then eventually, they run their course and people move on to the next thing. The hair care category is interesting because hair color has really ignited the beauty industry and has really been a driver for salons. The fashion colors, the vivid, bright colors, which we thought were going to be somewhat trendy, have become more mainstream. And so we see that as a category that is continuing to grow, and that is inspiring other brands or other companies to have brands that take care of that type of a hair color.
Right.
So if you put in these vibrant colors, you want a shampoo that's going to be beneficial to maintaining that color that you just paid $150 to have put in.
Right, absolutely. And are you seeing sort of we talk about beauty and then we also talk about wellness. Is that those have traditionally been two sort of separate industries. Are you seeing them come together more?
Oh, absolutely. The trends in beauty right now is natural and organic. Those are big buzzwords. People want to, especially the millennials, are looking for the more natural, organic, green, sustainable type of products. Packaging has become more critical because there's so many choices, and I think that the fragrance category kind of set an example. Like if you go and look at fragrances, the bottles are magnificent. And beauty in both, liquid goods and cosmetics is following that trend. Packaging is being upgraded. It's more attractive. So I think that trend will continue. And I believe that you're going to see, the naturals, the natural products as a long-term sustainable growth era for all of the companies out there. Everybody's looking into that.
Right, right. So when we talked a little bit earlier about things the Kirschner Group is doing to prepare for the future, and we talked about the store support, being able to engage the consumer more, and the impact of social media. I know that this year you did something really interesting called the American Influencer Awards. Will you tell us a bit about that?
I would love to. We did the American Influencer Awards. If you can watch it, it's on YouTube, and it's under American Influencer Awards on YouTube. And what we did is we put this event together to recognize those influencers who are really making a difference. And there were, I think we had 135 names that were the ones who were game changers in our industry, and we had 113 of those that attended the event.
Wow.
So we had virtually every big name in influencer at the event.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so amazing because, some of these influencers, I mean, they're making money like you wouldn't believe. We're talking millions of dollars in influencing. And it's the big companies like the Estee Lauders and the L'Oreals, the Macs, and these companies that are employing these people to influence and get out their new products. Because really today, when you are a big company and you have a new product, advertising in magazines is not going to help you. There's really no other better way to get your messaging out there than to use the influencer community.
And with this being the very first year that you've done it, were there some things that was sort of ahas for you in doing the program and sort of setting you up for future programs?
Yeah, we're going to obviously continue. This was the first one we did. It's the first one in the industry. And the influencers themselves absolutely loved it. They loved the recognition. And part of it is to legitimize what they do as an actual profession.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, influencers are kind of looked at not as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole goal of the American Influencer Association, which is who put on the American Influencer Awards, is to have an association that these folks belong to, where we can enlist a code of ethics, we can have guidelines for, proper influencing, and a lot of it, to be honest, is telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We want to encourage the influencers that we want them to tell the truth. We want consumers to be well informed, but we want them to have, facts rather than fallacies.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of these influencers love the idea, because they want to have a legitimate business. They want to make sure that this model is sustainable and that they can continue to do this for, years to come.
Right, right. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that a part of the Influencer Awards was also an association that's beginning to lay down these guidelines. That's really exciting.
You bet, and it'll make for the industry to be long-term sustainable, and it'll allow. One of the things that happens in that whole world is the micro-influencers try to destroy the macro-influencers because they want to get recognition, and it is a bit of a wild west.
Uh-huh.
So we're trying to lay out guidelines that bring some understanding and cooperation and elevate what influencers do rather than them tearing each other down.
Yeah, I love that. You're trying to tame the wild west of social media. All right, well, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more specifically to the industry and about what brands need to be doing different to survive in this wild west. Stay with us.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We're looking for a few good American beauty manufacturers who want to increase their brand in an exclusive credentialed category. If you're an American company who has conceived, designed, and bottled brands that are all about pretty, then we're pretty sure we're talking about you. And we're pretty sure you should be on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. This beauty website focuses on entrepreneurs and beauty startups as well as established brands. If it's pretty, we want to see it, and we want to sell it on AmericanMadeBeauty.com. To learn how you can be part of AmericanMadeBeauty.com, visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com now.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
Hi there, it's Patty Schmucker again, and we are wrapping up our last segment for today. This has just been a great show here at HealthyLife.net, RadioAMB, and we've had the CEO of the Kirschner Group, the largest manufacturer rep group in the professional beauty industry, with us, Harlan Kirschner. Harlan, as we wrap up the show today, tell us a little bit about what's key things for brands to know in this market, because it's such a different market than it's ever been today. What are some of the insights you feel are necessary to be successful?
Absolutely. And when I visit the large retailers these days, especially if it's a new brand, they're not so much concerned with what's in the bottle, but what is your social media and your digital campaign? What is your education and your store support campaign? And what is your advertising? And so they're not so much looking at the products today as what you're going to do to drive those products off their shelf. And so the things that are important to retailers today are, how are you going to drive people into my stores? Are you going to tag me in your social media? Are you going to tag me in your advertising, as seen or available at this store or that store? So they're looking for new users, and they're looking for how are you going to drive people into my store, and they're looking for how are you going to get those people to make the decision to buy. Because remember, many of them feel like their competition today is Amazon. And, Amazon, people go on, it's convenient, it's one click, boom, you order. They want to make sure that when people come into their stores that there's a process for getting them to be able to buy. And so that's part of the strategies that you now do when you sit with retailers is you develop, what is that consumer when they walk in that front door, what are they thinking, and how do you convince them to walk out with a purchase, and how do you look for ways to increase those purchases? For example, if you bought this blow dryer, this hairbrush goes well with it. If you bought this nail polish, well, this hair accessory goes well with it. So you're trying to cross-promote, and it's a different world out there. It's a much more aggressive, competitive environment. But for those who are creative and those who are forward-thinking, it's an environment that you can play and win.
Right. And when you say you can play and win, I mean, is it play and win by being smart? Do you have to have a ton of money? What's that recipe in this difficult time?
Yeah, I would say this is an era where, money always helps, but smart is better. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, when you have money, you can buy advertising, you can buy influencers, you can buy store shelving, you can buy collateral materials, but it's better to be smart. And I look at a lot of independent companies in our industry today that have done a phenomenal job of doing smart advertising, smart marketing, smart packaging, and so they're beating some of the bigger companies because, they're smarter. And I think the other part is they can be quick to react. Bigger companies, to get something done, takes a while. Mm-hmm. Smaller companies that can react within, days or weeks seem to be winning.
Right. And so what would you say to retailers as far as some of the things that you think are critical for them to be considering as we're trying to attract more consumers?
Well, I think that most of the retailers are looking to broaden what their selection is. When people only have a selection of one or two in a category, they're likely to, make the decision to walk away. Mm-hmm. The other thing that happens is you can have too much selection. And since we're not in the electronics business, I can use a great example. But I was in Fry's Electronics a week ago, and there's so much there that it gets to be overwhelming. I wanted to have like a case for my phone, and my gosh, like aisles and aisles and aisles. I couldn't make a decision. There were too many choices.
Right.
There is that fine line between not enough choices and too many choices, and I think for retailers who I get a chance to speak with, it's having the right choice. And, manufacturers may not always, like this, but it's an 80-20. 80% of the sales come from 20% of the products. Mm-hmm. So the retailers of today who are smart, they're getting that 80% of the business from those 20%. They look at those hero products from each manufacturer, and they're stocking their shelves with that. And, I see that in our industry, those smart retailers are really igniting and doing well.
And are you seeing any on the horizon? Are there changes that you see happening with regards to the retail environment? We talked earlier about the Kirschner Group having a very intelligent store support program that can help some of those retailers. Are there other things that you see in the future happening to help create a better environment for consumers in a retail environment?
I do. Trends and all the data that I get talk about how the big boxes are starting to weaken, and people are more interested in small box where they can get it in and out quickly and effectively. Mm-hmm. So if you need one item to walk through a Walmart store, it may take you forever and the long checkout. So you'll see, according to most of the data that I see, more smaller specialty stores. And specialty beauty, I think, will start to grow. And again, when people walk into that specialty beauty retailer, and you have all the things that they need, and you can educate them on what's best for their skin or their hair or their nails, or answer their questions, they will wind up having a more captive audience. And so, some of the statistics you read, Amazon right now is about 8% of the total beauty business, going towards, higher numbers. But even if it gets to 20 or 25%, that means 75% is going to be retail environments.
Right.
And so the better that they can be in educating and making it a comfortable and welcoming environment to shop in, the more successful they'll be.
But that's a good point, that even if you said 8%, Amazon is basically producing 80% of the purchases that are being made in beauty is happening in Amazon. Even if they get to 20%, the reality is 80% is happening somewhere else. And one of the areas that, being a licensed cosmetologist, one of the areas where we've seen shrinking has been in the professional beauty salon spa. What would you say to them in terms of some of the key things they need to do to recapture some of their ground and to be effective at retailing?
And as you said in the beginning, I'm a board member for the Professional Beauty Association. I'm treasurer, and I've been on the board for many, many, many years. And I take responsibility for our industry and our association. That shame on us that we haven't done a better job of educating those stylists to retail. Mm-hmm. And part of it is shame on the schools, because the schools have not done a very good job of teaching them. And they tend to be, stylists and salon professionals tend to be very artistic, but they don't tend to be very good salespeople. But they could be if taught. Because what other industry is there on planet Earth where you walk in and you tell a stylist all the things that are going on in your life, that stylist puts their hands on you and shampoos you, and, it's a very intimate industry that we're in that is unlike virtually anything else. That to our advantage by selling products when you've got somebody in the chair who is a captive audience. So part of it is the industry. We need to better educate stylists on how to sell. The schools need programs to do that. And at some point in time, hopefully a number of the manufacturers, will step up, take that responsibility, and move forward.
Right. All right, well, that's sort of at the end of our show. It's New Year's Day. I hope this show has been an inspiration for you. As we part today, Harlan, are there any things that, any words that you'd like to share for people starting their brand new 2018?
Yeah, I would just like to encourage any folks who are listening today that there's lots of opportunities in the beauty business, and we welcome innovation and new ideas and new concepts. So if you're out there and you're working on things, continue to do it, stay with it, and there's great opportunities for you ahead if you are consistent and you move forward. So thank you, Patty, for the time today. It's been a pleasure getting a chance to speak with you, and appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Harlan, and thank you for all of the amazing work that you have done and will continue to be doing in the industry. That does it for us today, and we're going to take a little break next week. We'll have one of our favorite shows from last year, David Wagner, the original Daymaker, will be rebroadcasting his show. So stay with us for next week, and we'll be back then in just 2 weeks. So thanks for taking the time to listen to Radio AMB, where we think pretty is pretty important in all things in beauty.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now this same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Here's the thing about beauty. It's pretty. At AmericanMadeBeauty.com, we're all about the pretty, making it easy for you to find what makes your beauty shine. We have essentially everything you need, and AmericanMadeBeauty.com celebrates brands that were created right here in the U.S. of A. Imagine everything you need from the best hair, skin, and nail products to makeup and even the tools, because it's all about pretty at AmericanMadeBeauty.com. We also think you're pretty important, so visit AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Browse, buy, learn. AmericanMadeBeauty.com. Obstacle racing. You know you want to try it. Well, try Reebok's Spartan Race, the global leader in obstacle racing. With 4 different race levels, their goal is to get you up off the couch and throw you into the mud and on the trails to give you the adrenaline rush of your life. Obstacle courses are designed to test your resilience, strength, stamina, quick decision-making skills, and give you the ability to laugh in the face of adversity. Visit HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on Spartan Race.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.